Jose and Jesse Gutierrez had a great idea of how to make some fast cash. Unfortunately, that plan ended up costing an innocent woman her very life. This is the story of the brothers Gutierrez and how they both ended up being executed on Texas death row. It's October 17th, 1981. This used to be the La Fiesta Ballroom here in Bryan, Texas. So a young lady that is married to the cousin of one Jose Gutierrez, she's attending an event right here and she's gonna need a ride after it's over. So Jose says, yeah, I'll come pick you up. Sure, no problem. So he arrives here, picks her up, and instead of taking her home, he takes her to an abandoned apartment and rapes her. He tells her, if you tell anybody this happened, I'll kill you. Well, she tells her husband and then she calls the cops. They come and arrest Jose Gutierrez. He's convicted of that crime and is sentenced to 15 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. Now, both Jose and Jesse have been in trouble with the law in Texas practically their entire adult lives. And eventually Jose gets paroled and he gets out around 1987 or 1988. And by this time, Jesse has been in prison a couple of times for theft. So you got two convicted felons who cannot fly straight, and they start coming up with ideas of how to pull off a big robbery and how they could just earn some easy money. So one of the brothers decides that the Texas Coin Exchange would be a good place to knock off. There is a large display of jewelry, and Jesse knows this because he's been there a few times pawning stuff that he's stolen from different robberies around the area. So they both make a plan that September 5th is going to be the day where they go and they just commit one big robbery, and maybe they can take it easy for a while. Maybe they can go straight. Nah, not these guys. Not these guys. September 5th, 1989. The Gutierrez brothers, they're at it again. They've been casing the Texas Coin Exchange for quite some time now. Now, this shopping complex where I'm located right now is the site where the Texas Coin Exchange used to be. I'm not exactly 100% sure it was at that spot right there where it says Brazos Coin, but from what somebody told me, it's been a coin shop for a very long time. So I'm going to say that that's where it was. If not, it was in this complex somewhere. So the Gutierrez brothers, they decide that September 5th, 1989, that is the time where they're going to strike. So they go into the business, and one of the brothers has a .32 caliber pistol, and Jose has a Uzi submachine pistol. So they go in there, and Dorothy McNew, she's waiting on Jose. And they start talking. All of a sudden, he pulls out his gun and says, "This is a robbery, freeze." The other brother, Jesse, says, "Everybody get down on the ground, put your nose in the carpet." And before Dorothy can do anything, Jose shoots her in the head. She falls down and blood is gushing from her mouth, from her nose, from the exit wound in her head. She is rapidly dying. They're yelling at everybody, "Don't do anything, we'll freaking blow your heads off." They're using expletives, all this, that, and the third. So while one brother has everybody at gunpoint, Jesse is breaking the cases, taking all of the displays and just shoving them in pillowcases. The robbery takes about 2 minutes and they both run out. However, as they get to the door, there's a problem. The door's not opening. I don't know if there's like a buzzer thing or something like that, or there's like a weird lock, but anyways, so they said, if somebody doesn't open this door right now, I'm going to kill everybody. Magically, that door opens within an instant. The brothers make their way out of this coin store and they turn out onto the street and disappear. So they get the hell out of there and they make their way back to their sister's home in Bryan, Isabel Hernandez. So they open the door and they walk right past her into the room that they had been sleeping in, and they shut the door. Now, Isabel, when she sees them, they're carrying a suitcase and a couple pillowcases, and they're dressed in dark clothing. And okay, kind of strange you'd even say hi to me when you came into my home. Oh well. So they're in their room for what feels like a few hours, and on the TV, she sees that the Texas Coin Exchange has just been robbed and somebody's been shot. And they're giving off a description of the robbers. And the description sounds like her brothers. So she's putting 1 and 2 together. So she knocks on the door and she can hear like rustling in the room. And then 30 seconds later, Jesse opens the door and she says, hey, listen, not accusing you, not saying, anything. I know your guys' history. I know you're a rapist. And I know that you've been in prison several times as well for bad things, theft. The description of the robbers kind of sound like you. They're basically saying it's 2 Latino men with long hair. And your guys' hair is a little long. And Jesse says, all right, come in. She goes in and she looks right on the bed, and there is a lot of jewelry and coins, rings, chains, all kinds of stuff. And it hits her that her brothers are the ones that committed the robbery. And they said, listen, we need a ride down to Houston because their other sister, Mary Jane, lived down there. We need a place to hide out. Can you drive us down there? And he says, look, you keep this. This is for you. So he gives her like a small handful of rings and gold chains. So they jump in the car and they head down to Houston, and they go to Mary Jane Gutierrez's apartment. So they're hiding out. And the next day on the news, it comes out that Dorothy McNew died the following day. So now these guys are wanted for not only robbery, but murder as well. So they're hiding out and they start fencing off some of the jewelry. They start pawning it off a little bit here and there. And the term loose lips sink ships apply here because Jesse, he likes to drink and he can't keep his mouth shut. And he starts bragging once the news is all over the TV. This guy actually starts bragging that, yeah, I did that. I'm the one responsible for that. Okay. So September 11th or 12th, Crime Stoppers gets a tip because now there's like a small reward. It's like a couple $1,000 reward. And now it's probably $5,000. And so somebody calls Crime Stoppers and they said, hey, this guy, Jesse Gutierrez, he's bragging that he's the one that committed the robbery there in the College Station, the Texas Coin Exchange. He normally doesn't have a lot of money, and now he's kind of showing off. He's got jewelry. He gave his girlfriend jewelry. I don't know. You might want to check him out. So they forward the message to the College Station Police Department, and immediately they head straight down to Houston, and they hook up with the Houston police, and they start doing surveillance on Mary Jane's apartment, and they find out the motel where Jesse is shacking up with his girlfriend. And they know that Jose's in there because they seen him go to the store. They followed him and he came back. So they plan on raiding the apartment on September 13th. 6 a.m., September 13th, 1989. It's been a little over a week since the robbery and murder at the Texas Coin Exchange. And so, boom, 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 police, we got a search warrant. Take that battery round, bang, go into the door. They got guns. They're ready to shoot anybody who even scratches their nose wrong. So Jose was sleeping in a bedroom. He puts his hands up. They take him into custody. At the same time, they're staking out the motel where Jesse is with his girlfriend. Boom, open the door. Probably got a pass key from the, owner. Probably doesn't want to get his door messed up. So they catch Jesse and his girlfriend in bed. And so they both get arrested. And that would be the last time that Jesse has sex. That was it. Hopefully it was good for him, as it probably was not for the girl. So they arrest him. And what do you know? In both places, they find the jewelry from the robbery. Jose has about $1,200 in cash. He doesn't have a lot of money. And there's the display cases where the rings go in. They got their fingerprints from the crime scene. They got the submachine pistol that Jose used to kill Dorothy. And Jesse, he's got some jewelry on. He's got a couple cool rings on. He gave his girlfriend some chains. So I don't know exactly how much of the jewelry they recovered, but they got the murder weapon. They got the jewelry. They got the display. These guys kept the display cases. I don't know why you would do that. And then they went to the pawn shops where they were pawning off the jewelry or what have you. Okay. So then they take the brothers and they extradite them back to College Station to stand trial for the murder. Now, they did a photo lineup with the witnesses from the robbery, and they all identified both Jose and Jesse as the guys in the store. They identified them pretty easily because, mind you, they're not wearing masks. They're they got long hair, but they both had cut their hair before they had fled the area. So they're arrested, and in Texas, of course, any capital murder charge is a murder charge that is also in the process of committing a felony, a serious felony. So if you murder somebody during a robbery, that's capital murder. If you murder somebody during a kidnapping, that's a capital murder. So they're charging both brothers with capital murder. Now, even though Jose's the one that pulled the trigger and killed Dorothy McNew, Jesse is still being tried due to the law of parties, where if you commit a crime and your friend kills somebody, you're just as guilty as he is. So eventually, both brothers, they are tried and convicted of this crime, of this murder. So they also arrested Raul Gutierrez and charged him with this crime as well. They believe that he was possibly the getaway driver, or he has something to do with this case. However, they declined to file charges against him. I don't know exactly what they did to the sisters. I'm sure they probably testified in exchange for them not, being charged with any of this, because they did harbor these individuals. So technically, the brothers, it was kind of lucky on the part of the police that they were able to catch them, because they had just bought a car and they were on their way to California. The only reason why they didn't leave is because the car broke down. It was having issues with the something or another. And the amount of money in terms of worth of jewelry fluctuates wildly in this story. It's anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 worth of jewelry. I'm guessing it's closer to the 100 or possibly 200,000 estimate. But when you got that kind of money with all those, chains and whatever, you're not gonna get barely, but maybe 25 to 30% of its value. So even if they did steal 200,000 worth of jewelry, $200,000 worth of jewelry, you're not making a whole lot of money because you're probably getting $60,000 of it at best, and you're splitting it between 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. So they basically got executed for a couple $1,000s at the end of the day. The Gutierrez brothers. This is Jesse Gutierrez. He's the one that technically did not kill anybody. I don't know if it was the plan to do that. His last words were, I love everybody. That's it. Short and sweet, to the point. And he would be executed September 16th, 1994. And then about 5 years later, Jose Gutierrez. I'm kind of wondering right now, after his brother was executed, right? I wonder if he felt bad because he's the one that pulled the trigger and he's like, man, why did I do that? It's one thing I'm going to get executed, but I wish they wouldn't have done that to my, little brother. But well, 2 brothers executed, payable on death, and that's the end of that.